All right, just coming into our newsroom, new information on that bank robbery in Fort Smith. We'll get back to Scott here in just a second. Police say they have an arrest warrant out now for this man, Aljon Smith of Oklahoma City. Police responded to a bank robbery at the 5200 block of Rogers Avenue about 3:30 this afternoon at the First National Bank branch there. Police say they believe Smith drove away from the scene in a gray Kia Forte with Oklahoma license plate. They say he is armed and dangerous and urged not to attempt to approach him. If you have any information about this, please contact the Fort Smith Police Department. The future of Parrot Island in Fort Smith is now settled. City directors tonight approved taking over sole control of the water park and spend another $2 million to get 5 new slides installed. The vote came after a lot of discussion.
ARM is a professional business. They should have known very accurately what the cost to install these slides should be. Presumably they've installed them in other parks, and I think they should buy us out of the slides. We were relying on their expertise, and I feel like they knowingly made statements and omitted material facts.
I have been called the following on social media in the last week: tyrannical, treacherous, a pompous POS, shameful, not fit for the position I'm in, a corrupt, sneaky liar, a moron, delusional, a child throwing a temper tantrum, a foolish, an idiot, a crook, a snake. Apparently I make someone's skin crawl and I should be tarred and feathered. And we wonder why opportunities pass us by, or why more people don't run for office, and why senior leadership positions take a long time to fill.
We had to cut 71 positions across the city. Some of that included police, some of that included fire. But it allowed us to be able to get operationally balanced. But then to turn around and need to spend an additional $3 million when we're cutting all those positions just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
As I continue to fight for families and kids to do something fun here, the project here will make the park better.
Anytime it is on the agenda, it brings a packed house, and tonight was no different. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer was at that meeting and heard from quite a few residents about the project.
Despite this passing 4-3, lots of residents spoke during public comment, and none were in favor for funding the construction of the slides, saying they believe the money could be used in other ways, and they wanted to see an audit. Public comment made quite the splash Tuesday night.
We're spending money like a drunken sailor here.
One by one, residents stepped up to the podium, some holding FOIA documents claiming Parrot Island is already operating in the red, and taxpayers are being asked to bail it out.
My question to them would be, if this were your business, would you continuing digging this hole?
Casey Millspaw organized what he called the Parrot Island protest, the final stand.
It was clear from the momentum that we saw and the amount of people in the audience tonight that there was a big disagreement with them having to spend that money.
Millspaw says he's concerned about the city's general fund, warning it could disappear quickly.
We can't continue to spend money like this because it's going to take from other parts of the city.
While some directors call the project an investment in Fort Smith's future,
You've got an opportunity to invest in something that's going to drive people here, bring in tourism, bring in revenue.
Millspaw says that future could be at risk.
We've been going down this path for too long, and our population growth is flat, and we keep spending money.
And while he calls Tuesday night's vote a loss,
Passes 4 in favor, 3 opposed.
he says he thinks the ripple effects could just be beginning.
There's numerous board of directors that are going to be up for election, and you can expect that there's going to be populist candidates that are coming in and trying to run against those positions.
City Administrator Jeff Dingman says that money will come from the original project budget, interest earnings from the sales use tax at the water park, and the general fund appropriation that the board voted yes to tonight. In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Let's get back now to Scott. I believe we have the issue fixed. Let's talk about the threat of this winter weather coming in this weekend.
Are slowly but surely changing. As we get a little bit closer, that picture becomes a bit more clear. Before we get to that winter weather, there's actually a pretty good chance of some scattered showers later tonight. A lot of this is falling overnight while we're asleep. This is 2 a.m. Couple of things to take away from it. Number one, it's spotty. It ain't much. It's not widespread. Not everyone sees it. If you do, it's pretty light in nature. So overall, not too big of a deal. We get a little bit closer to sunrise tomorrow morning. Here's 5 a.m. Some scattered showers around I-40 corridor and points to the south. With time, those are going to be pushing further and further south. This is 7 o'clock, so I do think some of the kids out there may need their rain gear for the bus stop. Not going to need it all day long by any means. You're going to notice those clouds push to the south. The rain goes with it. Sunshine breaks through, and we'll actually see a pretty decent day tomorrow. Hey, here's the thing. If you do need to do any winterization of your home, your farm, trying to figure out how you're going to get through all these cold temperatures and the snow that's coming, tomorrow's the day to do it. Thursday's not bad. We got highs in the low 50s both days, but we already have a winter storm watch in effect, which tells us, there's some trouble brewing out there. We're still looking at Friday night for things to get going. I'll tell you this, the watch itself is going to be upgraded to a warning in due time, probably by Thursday at the latest. And while I'm not ready to necessarily dive into specific details of accumulations just right yet, you only get a winter storm watch or warning here locally when the Weather Service is expecting at least 4 inches of snow. So take that and do with it what you may. We'll dive into the latest forecast here coming up in just minutes.
All right, Scott, thanks. Tonight at the Fayetteville City Council, they unanimously voted to pass a funding request from the police and fire departments for upgraded radios. Without any discussion, more than $2 million will now go to the departments to purchase more than 300 Motorola radios. Deputy Chief of Police said last week the radios will be a big upgrade, helping the departments be more efficient with tracking and safety during critical responses. Also happening today, students at the U of A Law School in Fayetteville staged a walkout in protest of a reversal on the decision to hire a new dean. Earlier this month, university hired Emily Susky to become the new law school dean after a 2-year search. But less than a week later, the university pulled that offer, saying it had changed course after, quote, feedback from key external stakeholders. 5 News spoke with one student who said the decision was a shock and that students have a right to know what's going on.
We are all pretty upset. I think right now our hope is to, one, make our voices heard, show the state that they can't do this without us noticing and us speaking out about it. And 2, just to demonstrate to the rest of Arkansas that we're not going to let this happen to us, and we are certainly not going to let it happen to them.
Several state representatives also told us last week the decision to revoke that offer was, quote, politically motivated. Meanwhile, some Bentonville high school students taking a stand. A group joined nationwide protest against ICE today. This comes on the heels of a field trip mishap. We told you last week students were incorrectly taken to a Fayetteville building which houses the Enforcement and Removal Operations Office. Pictures of the bus parked there took the internet by storm. The district, though, says that was not the correct location and students were taken to the correct facility. They visited Homeland Security investigation agents to learn about forensics. Superintendent says students did not witness any other kind of federal operation. We spoke with one protester today who said this opened students' eyes to the ICE presence in our region. Tonight, we're continuing to follow the case involving Aaron Spencer. He's the man running for Lonoke County, Arkansas sheriff, while also on trial for allegedly murdering the man who sexually abused his underage daughter. Well, now his attorneys are asking the judge to recuse herself. Carter Thweet explains the new development just days before jury selection was supposed to start.
It's really an odd system where recusal motions are brought before the very judge who is asked to be recused, but that's our system.
Robert Steinbuck from the Bowen School of Law says that's what'll happen in this case. Judge Barbara Elmore will decide whether she should remove herself from the case of Aaron Spencer.
It usually doesn't take much time because, as we discussed, it's that trial judge who's making that initial call.
Attorneys for Spencer, who's on trial for second-degree murder, point out several reasons why they say Judge Elmore shouldn't handle this case. First, she imposed a gag order last year that the state Supreme Court rejected, and Spencer's attorneys say she's continued to try and hide the case from the public view. Second, Elmore presided over Michael Fossler's earlier sexual abuse case involving Spencer's underage daughter, the case that ended with Fossler released on bond and found with Spencer Spencer's daughter once again.
There is a question as to whether the judge's involvement in that prior case should result in her not being involved in this case.
The defense also challenges Elmore's recent order limiting the amount of people in the courtroom without considering other alternatives. The trial set for next Monday.
They've been before this judge for some time, so unless there's some new information that came out, it does seem a bit late to be making that motion.
That was Carter Threet reporting. Now, Spencer's attorneys could not appear on camera today, but did provide a statement which can be found on our website at 5newsonline.com.